We're good? All right, so welcome everybody on TikTok to Sunday service, Roots Revival Interfaith. I'm going to give this a second for a few people to tune in and welcome everyone on YouTube. Okay, if we can get a thumbs up that we have audio and visual on TikTok, that would be appreciated. Thank you so much. Okay, and the same thing on YouTube. If we could get a thumbs up from someone letting us know we have audio and visual, that would be helpful. Excellent. Look at that. All right. So now if you guys are having any trouble here on TikTok, feel free to switch over to YouTube. YouTube is also at Ask Ivy. And we often just see that we have a better connection there. Okay. So welcome. We have Bethany, Hunter, Alice. Looks like we have a few people tuning in here on YouTube as well. We're going to give that a second. So today, I do want to invite you guys to check out previous sermons. If you're tuning in with us for the first time, anywhere that you receive a podcast or on YouTube at Ask Ivy, you can go up in the playlist under Roots Revival Interfaith to listen to old sermons. And we do have with us today Christina Del Rey, astrologer. How are you, Reverend Christina?
Awesome. Great to be here.
Good. And we have Reverend Paul Casey, Healing Arts. How are you, Paul?
Great, thank you.
Good. So Paul will be dealing with the technology here today. He'll be taking your questions, your comments, your prayer and healing requests. We are an interactive church, so we do encourage you to post, and we will try to get to everyone's questions and comments throughout. Feel free to start posting your healing and prayer requests now. About, I want to say about halfway through. We're going to start getting to those as well as your questions. All right, so welcome everyone. I am Pastor Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arawak, and I started Roots Revival Interfaith Church because I felt that we needed to normalize intuition. We need to decolonize spirituality. And so we believe here in a combination of intuitive intelligence, which is your psychic, mediumistic, and empathic ability, as well as astrology and numerology as the three sort of pillars of truth and wisdom in the universe that can lead you to healing, that can help you to stay on the path that you came to earth to be on, and to also go out and help others heal in the world. So those are the topics that we focus on, things that you could do in your day-to-day life to tap into those three areas of wisdom in the universe. So today we are talking about when to stay and when to quit, the wisdom of will. Right now, there are a million different things that we can do to understand whether or not we should stay and fight or, just wait it out in a situation, a relationship, a circumstance, and when to know that it's time to leave, that the party is over. And I think that a lot of it has to come from you walking the walk. A lot of it has to come from you learning the hard way often. But today, I want to break down 3 different signs that it's time to hold out a little while longer and stay the course, and 3 different signs that it's definitely time to cut your losses, quit, move on. And I'll go first, and then we're going to open this sermon up to our astrologer here, Reverend Christina. And again, for those of you that are tuning in a little bit late, post your questions and comments in the feed. Paul will be taking those. We do encourage donations for the church, much appreciated. And at this time, you may want to start posting your prayer and healing requests. We will be getting to those later. So when to stay and when to quit, the wisdom of will. Your will and your free will can be a blessing and it can be a curse. We want to make sure that we're using our free will to bless us. And there are always a couple different things that you can look at any time to help you to understand whether or not you should be walking away from something or you should stay the course. One is divine timing. Okay, now, Paul, if you could put that in the comment section here, divine timing, when to make a move. I did a free mini class on this on my YouTube. Check it out. What do I mean by divine timing? I think that a lot of people leave things too early. And a lot of people stay way too late because they don't understand that it is not always a yes or no answer. It is sometimes about living in that gray area. And it's about knowing when the gun has gone off, when the universe is telling you to do something, when your gut instinct has kicked in. You have to understand everything that should be done in perfect timing. And without understanding that timing, you're going to typically go off your logic or you're going to go off your emotion. And that leads to a lot of heartache and prosperity loss. Okay. So number one, understand divine timing, learn about it, get educated, watch the free mini class that I did and apply it to your life. Number two, intuition versus emotion. Paul, if you could put that in the comment section as well. If you understand how to follow your third eye, your higher mind, your intuitive gut, spirit, your ancestors, the guidance that the universe is giving you, instead of your feelings, your emotions, which are fickle. They are not only always changing, they are often based on things that you want to fulfill your fleshly needs and desires, which could be very toxic for you. So you should never be making major decisions from your feelings. Okay. And a lot of times when we're talking about feelings, especially here at Roots Revival, we're talking about fear. We're talking about ego. We're talking about control. We're talking about a lack of sight. So you say, well, my world is small and my circumstances are small. I can't see beyond this. You have to get to a place of bigger picture thinking and blind faith and a willingness to step out into new territory. You will not have all the answers. You will not know what's going to come next at all times, but you can't stay in your feelings and emotion and think that that's actually going to lead you somewhere greater. Okay. Number three, an area that you can always check out, Paul, also please post this one, is intuition versus logic. And I believe we spoke on this at a church service recently. I think we did a Sunday sermon on this one too. But your intuition is never going to lie. Energy never lies. Spirits in the light are never going to misguide you. Your logic can. And often we see that your logic will match your intuition, which is a beautiful thing. It allows you to feel even more in alignment with, the truth of what you should be doing. But it isn't always the case. Some of us overthink things. Some of us, again, let that ego, that fear, that control get in. And so we have thought things to death and we are using too much of our left logical brain and reasoning skills to justify a wrong decision. And your intuition is there, still small voice, always whispering, not as loud as logic, not as loud as your emotions, but always there telling you what's right to do. And we easily can overlook it. Okay, so those are three key areas that you can always look at. Again, divine timing, intuition versus emotion, and intuition versus your logic. So let's talk about the three signs that you are supposed to stay in a relationship, stay at that job, stay in a circumstance in your life a little bit longer. And again, there are a million different things that we could talk about today. I picked three that I see are the most common in my life, in my clients' lives, in my students' lives. So 3 signs that you should stay. Number 1, the relationship, the place, the situation isn't done with you yet. There is a big difference between feeling like I'm not done with this yet and it is not done with me yet. When it is not done with you, we're having a problem here on TikTok with an accessory or something. Okay. Again, those of you tuning in through TikTok, I'm going to have to wait a minute until that's fixed. So hold on. Also, everybody here on YouTube, if you could give this a thumbs up right now, that would be greatly appreciated while we wait for TikTok to get fixed. Thank you so much. Okay, are we back here on TikTok? All right. So everybody tuning in through TikTok, I'm going to say this again. If you're having problems with the connection, it's TikTok, not me. Switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy and tune in with us there. But what we were just talking about is the difference between feeling as though you're not done with somebody or some situation yet versus it not being done with you. When it's not done with you, it is going to continuously pull you back in. Now, I'm not talking about some narcissistic, abusive, toxic, sociopathic lover, okay, who is using a narc hoovering technique to suck you back in. I'm talking about signs from the universe. I'm talking about feeling as though this is a situation where there are still stones that have been left unturned. You know that there's more that hasn't occurred yet. And you may also feel as though there's still time left over on this relationship or situation. One of the tricks that you can use to figure out if you're in divine timing is to visualize a sand timer and see how much sand is still left in it to flow down to the bottom, or whether it is empty, in fact. But usually with time, we can feel as though we're almost there, but we're just not there yet. So we want to be honest about that. We may also feel that the situation or the relationship is pulling us back in through dreams. You may have a lot of prophecy about it. You may be sorting it out at night when you're asleep and feeling as though there's still some unfinished business. There could be breakthroughs in the relationship, breakthroughs in the situation, maybe ones that you'd given up on. You know, you gave up hope. You thought it wasn't going to ever happen, but all of a sudden it does. And it's almost like it's summoning you to just stay there a little while longer, just to give it a little bit more time. Again, I want to warn with this. Do not have black or white thinking. Stay in the gray. If you know that it may not be a forever situation or a forever relationship, stay in the gray zone. It's not, yes, I'm supposed to stay forever. No, I'm absolutely supposed to leave. It's, I'm supposed to be here maybe a little while longer. Give this a bit more of my time, a bit more investigation. And then we'll see what that leads to. Okay. That's wisdom, is knowing not to have an all or nothing attitude. But it could, be pulling you back in through opportunities. Often we see this with work and we thought, okay, I've had enough. It is not abiding by my timeline, by my goals. And so I'm going to leave. And then all of a sudden that promotion that you had wanted, for so long opens up to you. And you think, okay, I did decide to leave, but maybe, I should give this another try. So watch for those things. It can definitely be that timing wasn't matching up with your agenda. And this is the right thing to do, to stay and give it a little while longer. Now, here are three sorry, I forgot about also, I want to talk about number 2. Spirit has not given you the go ahead. Now, this is huge. This also taps in with the divine timing that I was speaking about earlier. So we have to remember that we shouldn't rely exclusively on our own intuition. We shouldn't rely on ourselves all the time. Ask your ancestors, ask your guides, ask spirit, ask God to give you a sign that it's time to go or to stay. Now, if spirit will not give you the go ahead that it's time to leave, you're going to need to wait it out a little while longer. Remember, your flesh can easily override, your emotions can override that still small voice that comes from spirit. I like to think of it this way. When spirit gives me the go ahead. I will feel almost like a gun went off, like the race began. I will feel with that gun going off an instant push, a shove, almost a sense of urgency, or I will visualize almost like myself being a horse in a pen, and the pen opened and I'm free to go. I'm free to run. You can feel when that shift has occurred. Okay, so wait for that. Number 3, it may be time to invest a little more or to stay when you have no peace about leaving. Again, I want to warn against this one. This is not about having an emotional toxic attachment to a habit. It's not about having a feeling toward a destructive love relationship. You just don't feel like leaving. You feel drawn to this person. It's not about that addictive tendency that sucks you back in. This is about having no sense of inner peace, stability. I don't feel at ease if I were to leave right now. I feel as though I would need to go back and I would get sucked back in to finish and wrap up loose ends. This chapter is not over, and you know it. So it's important that if you will likely be returning, there is too much unfinished business. That sense of peace is lacking, and you need to go by that. Let's talk about 3 signs that you need to stay. 3 signs that you need to go. Sorry, guys. I'm like having almost like heat stroke here, living in this house, no air conditioning for the week. My brain is totally fried. So that was 3 signs you need to stay. Let's talk about 3 signs that you need to go. Number 1, spirit, the universe, your gut instinct has repeatedly told you that it is time. You're basically ignoring that. So it at this point is usually way past time. You should have gone long ago before you realize that this is happening. And you've overstayed your welcome. I always say you don't want to be the last one to leave the party. Okay. So if you know that this has happened and you're rejecting it, you're denying it, you're going to see a couple other things come up. And that is number 2. I call it the breaking of the legs. So with my students in the psychic mediumship course, we talk about something called the shift. And in the shift, you have 3 different opportunities to move on from something. This could be a relationship. This could be a job. This could be a habit in your life. It could be anything. But when you refuse and you have surpassed the first 2 opportunities that the universe has given you, you enter into the 3rd, and that is the breaking of the legs. And what that means is essentially that you are so out of alignment with the universe and prosperity and your own life contract that you can't catch up. You can't have any type of abundance, and there's no rest for the amount of negative karmic kickback that comes to you. It just hits and hits and hits and hits. You will also feel as though everything that allowed you mobility and productivity and growth in your life has been removed or broken down. And this could be your vehicle. This could be your way of making money. So you may see that your car keeps breaking down. You may see that you literally physically have broken legs, broken arms, health problems. You could see job loss. You could see that any resources that used to come in and would allow you to build your life are now gone, or they are limited in a significant way. So we want to notice when we've reached this point and remember that with the breaking of the legs, you have been warned, typically at least 2 years prior, that you were supposed to leave a situation or a relationship. So the breaking of the legs is extreme and you cannot get out of it. I always tell my students, it's like being put in a big fat timeout chair where you're forced to sit and think about changes you should have made in your life that you're refusing to make. Okay. Now, number 3 is that you have no peace. You have no ability to be at rest, no peace of mind, no joy, no prosperity. or your prosperity is rapidly dwindling. And remember, when we talk about prosperity here at Root Survival, we're not just talking about your finances. I'm talking about health. I'm talking about relationships. Yes, I'm talking about your resources, your creativity, all of that. You don't sleep well anymore. So if sleep has been taken from you, that means that at night you are processing all the things that you should be processing during the day. Paul could put in the comments here my dreams class, where I talk about the 3 different kinds of dreams. One of them is subconscious dreaming. Okay, so this is sort of like psychology 101 stuff. But when you don't do what you need to do, when you don't process the things that are stressing you out or aren't working in your life while you're awake, you process them while you're sleeping. And that can lead to stress dreaming. It can lead to nightmares. It can lead to blocked dreaming, where you no longer even remember your dreams at all, which is such a tragic thing because it is the compass for our lives. You may be bombarded with signs everywhere from spirit, from the universe, from your friends, from numerology. Everything is showing you and telling you that it is time to leave that relationship. It is time to move on. You cannot escape it being in your face all the time. But again, a lot of people choose to ignore all of that. Okay, so those are 3 signs that it's time to stay, stick it out. 3 signs that it's time to go and to move on. I want to open this up to Christina. Again, you guys post your questions and comments. We are an interactive church, so I do plan to take those and your prayer and healing requests at this time, and donations are appreciated. Christina, what did you want to say on this?
I love that you incorporated the breaking of the legs, because when I was in the mediumship course, I do remember that. And gosh, that is so true when I think about that right now.
Yeah.
Well, we could have lots of conversations about that.
We could. And let me just interrupt real quick and say to everybody, if you suspect that is happening to you, or that it has ever happened to you, the best way to avoid ever going through the breaking of the legs again is to look back at your past and find a time when it happened. And you can say, oh, yes, I should have done this thing sooner. And now I know the signs, and learn from it.
Just reflecting on that too, you can kind of observe when somebody else isn't living their truth, and the breaking of the legs comes for them, and how unaligned they are. It's very interesting.
It is.
Okay, so ways to know it's time to go. So I think maybe when you're trying to fit into societal expectations, and I think that goes along with what you were saying about, you're ignoring, right? So you're ignoring the energy. And so many times I was ignoring because of the societal expectations. I heard loud and clear what I was supposed to do, but that did not fit into the societal expectations. So I was like, no, not doing it, not getting that reputation, not going to go there. And, in the end, of course, the breaking of the legs happened, but I think that, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens in divine timing, but you really come into your power more when you realize that you weren't listening and that you ignored it. When you ignore your intuition, it leads to being stuck and off your soul's purpose, which can also lead to disease and a very stuck, miserable life too. And like just being held back in so many areas. And, for me personally, that's what it was. I was just held back on so much that I compromised myself. This is as far as like relationships go. We should really be teaching this in pre-K.
Yeah.
We should be teaching this as little kids, because we're so busy teaching societal expectations that the intuition is getting lost. So, we need to realize that, people come for a time and then they leave, or, maybe that situation is just not right. Right now too, you really have to pay attention to the astrology. It's always helpful, but my chart is so triggered right now with endings. I mean, there really just could not be more triggers going on in my chart. And also too, with that comes a lot of emotion. And, as we humans do, we do tend to act out of emotions. So we have to be careful not to do that. We have to, when we get aggravated, we got to put the phone down, or we got to walk away for a little while because, you can say something that you might regret. So it's like, you have to kind of step away from it, but also speak your truth and, do that with courage and bravery. I think when you are forcing it too, this is another way to know it's time to go. When you're really forcing it, it's not there. You can't get the feeling back. It's over and you're just forcing it. You have to really contemplate how you feel deep down and look at it with honesty and, make sure that you have to kind of say, okay, it's gone. I have to deal with the fact that it's gone and kind of look at it and deal with it and do the shadow work. And I know we did some shadow work mini classes, or we did some sermons on that, I think.
Yeah, Paul, if you could actually put that in the comments for them. We did a series of 3 shadow work mini classes, and then we did a series of 2 here at Roots Revival.
And I think that this goes into passions too. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they said, pay attention to your passions, because go in the direction of your passions, like what fills your soul. So if you're in a situation that is no longer filling your soul, you know what I mean? It's no longer benefiting your soul. That's a clear sign that you need to be done. And there's the only thing that's like permanent is change and cycles. So you have to remember that everything is a cycle. Pay attention to eclipses. Eclipses are extremely important. We are having eclipses in November and December. And eclipses are game changers. And sometimes, an eclipse happens and you're like, oh, I expected there to be more, that was triggering my chart, but you might not see it right away. It's one of those things that kind of slowly unfolds. But eclipses can be endings and new beginnings. And if they're touching a personal planet for you, you're going to feel that energy. And, they, especially if you think back to what you were doing 20 years ago, because the eclipses cycle in 20-year cycles. So if you think back to what was going on in 20 years ago, it's likely that the same themes are there, but you are going deeper. So if you were ending a cycle then, you're probably ending a cycle again, but you're doing it with more wisdom this time. Hopefully. Some people are not, right? Because they don't listen. It's really important, I just think, to contemplations, gaining wisdom and integrating it into your life. If you've learned the lesson and the lesson is over, being honest with yourself and, being truthful and having the discussion. And I think it's important to point out too that anger, sadness, grief, not getting what we want and desire, even when, we really love something, we don't get it. That's all part of the experience. It's all part of, maybe we really wanted that relationship to work, but it's not working. There's happiness and passion and elation, but we wouldn't have that if we didn't have sadness, grief, and anger. So those are all part of the soul's journey in this lifetime. And I think that's part of the mystery, is that we have to really listen to our inner voice, probably something we've ignored our whole lives. But, you really can't control. If a cycle is over, you can't control that. And that's where the breaking of the legs will come in, because you're trying to control what's happening. And that's where I was, trying to control. Okay, well, it's not here anymore, but I'm just going to do what I think needs to be right. And that wasn't aligning with my soul. So that had to break. So, I guess the best thing for me would be to explore your soul. If the situation is not filling your soul anymore, that's when it's time to contemplate leaving.
I really love how you said, when a cycle is over, it's over. I don't care what your teachers taught you. I don't care how your parents raised you. I don't care what the church said. I don't care what that college degree says. I don't care what that marital contract with the state says. I don't care what the government has given. It doesn't matter. If it is over, it is over. And there is nothing more definitive than numerology and astrology. To watch a number change, to watch a planet move, and to be like, ta-da, this is the end. And we are so brainwashed. We are so lacking in exposure to these concepts. I love how you brought up childhood education. In school, all we talk about those lifelong contracts, these things that we're going to dig into, starting there, obviously, with education. But that is not the way of the universe. Everything we're taught is against universal law and wisdom and the structure of how things actually work. Therefore, we are out of alignment. We are trained from the time we enter school to be out of alignment and to fit in with the capitalistic, structured society. So we're part of this machine. And at this point, we're realizing how broken it is and how we need to get back to the truth. But what Christina just said here a minute ago about the anxiety, the anger, the fear, the depression, the grief, that horrible, horrible sadness that comes from fighting against all of that training. It is so important that we really look at how we've been programmed, because all of those emotions may not really even be coming from you naturally. It may have been programmed into you to never go against the system. And so it's made 100 times worse than what it has to be. Careers can end. It's okay. In your life contract, you may have multiple careers you're supposed to get involved in. Your finances may change. You may go from being very wealthy to, becoming an activist at some point. But the prosperity comes in different ways. It's fulfilling to your soul. It keeps you on fire. It's helping you in a revolution. It's helping you to heal other people. It's part of your calling. You can go from, being poverty stricken to being very wealthy and in a position of power somewhere else. It's okay to roll with the changes, but we have to first identify when a cycle is over and stop fighting it.
I think we talked about this the other day, how I meditate on trust a lot, trusting the universe. And sometimes, things happen and, like the rug is pulled out from under you, but you don't see that something better can come along. You know what I mean? And you lose a job, a better job is waiting, but you can only look at the fact that that job is gone. So you might even be blocking your prosperity there because you're, oh my gosh, this horrible thing happened and I just can't get on with it. And, you're like blocking your blessings because that door closed. It's done. You got to move on from it. That cycle ended for whatever reason. You might have just served your karma there and it's done. I was a teacher of hearing impaired students. And so the only thing I wanted to do my entire life since I was 5 years old, just wanted to teach hearing impaired students. Well, that cycle ended when I got laid off. Right. So, and I ended up getting hired back as a special ed teacher, but that took me in a completely different direction. But I have been so blessed by the students that I have had. And I thought it was the end of the world when I lost my job, when I was laid off. And a year later, they called me and they said, Christina, do you want this job back? And I was like, no, I have to see my kids through. I have made such bonds with these kids, and it's the best decision I ever made. And I thought it was, the end of the world. So, I never in a million years planned on doing anything but teaching deaf kids, but here I am, and
I
doing.
remember when you went through that and you left
Yeah.
this sort of suburbanite school district to inner city, and you really got your hands dirty, and it was amazing to watch. It changed you, it changed everyone around you, in this profound way. We need to be willing to go where we're needed. And it just is where you were needed. So there were so many other means to have prosperity,
And if I went in and I embraced it, and had I not embraced it and just sat and mourned that other job, and this was my life purpose, life purpose changes. It changes. And that's part of the mystery. We're not going to know all the answers. We just have to, we're not going to know, and someday we'll know, but we're not going to know now. So we have to read the signs, and you had said about spirit guides too. And I've been trying to do that more. So I will be doing that tonight, asking my spirit guides for some help.
Amen. And it really is that God complex. Mm-hmm. And that ego that we need to control everything and we need to know everything. And, we have to run our own lives. And it's from lacking. It's from lacking in education and parenting and the church and, all of this, that we have to outsource all of our power all the time. So we just don't know any better. We don't know that we're supposed to tune out from the world, stop waiting for an extra sign, stop waiting for that turnout that we want, stop waiting for the person you're in a toxic relationship, to change, stop waiting on all of that and go in, be introspective, listen. All the answers are in you. You don't need to outsource your power. Okay.
I think I see a comment from Shauna that's just kind of resonated with me a little bit. She said, can I get prayer support on helping with cleansing out all negative energy buildup? So she said she's been cleansing for the last couple of days to make sure the buildup is gone, which is great. Exactly what Ivy recommends. And I did my house cleaning today. And I know Ivy was talking about doing hers, but my kids were like so grossed out because it smelled so strong in here. But I have to say, sometimes in order to think clearly, sometimes you have to do that. So for me, it was like a little bit like I needed to cleanse my mind. So cleansing the house, getting rid of everything, every negative, possible vibe in here. And knowing that I'm only going to accept higher vibes from now on. So sometimes you need that for like a clear head and to, discern whether you need to leave a situation.
Pull up that comment, Paul, so we can see it. So we'll start there. Well, let's get into the questions and comments. Donations are appreciated at this time. Post your prayer and healing requests if you haven't done so. So the first, Shauna says, can I get prayers and support, which we'll get to here in a minute, helping with cleansing out all negative energy buildup. Been cleansing the last couple of days. Need to make sure the buildup is gone. So off of what Christina was just saying, I'm doing a house cleansing on this 1800s funeral home I just moved into. And, it was funny because Christina and I were doing house cleansings on the same day. I thought that was a little odd. But, it is really, really helpful to not only cleanse your space, but also to kind of have feng shui attacks periodically, where you take old clothes, especially if you were in a love partnership that you had to leave behind. Toss those undies, ladies, okay? Or gentlemen, get rid of your bras. Get rid of anything that, lingerie or whatever, or even your pajamas, anything that would have really been connected to that relationship. You're trying to move on, get rid of that stuff. You don't need it anymore. I am always careful to get rid of purses and handbags because I put a lot of my emotion and thought into the bags that I carry around with me. So if it's connected to a time I want to leave behind, shoes, clothing, furniture, if you just went through a divorce and you can possibly afford it, throw that couch out. Let go of objects. They hold so much energy, and we don't talk about that nearly enough too.
I was just thinking about the purse thing today and definitely the underwear thing. So that was all going through my mind today. So Shauna, take that advice.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we have another question or comment that we should pull up here.
Mostly they're prayers.
Mostly prayer requests. Okay.
Well, we have one about, here was one from Liz about breaking of the legs.
Okay, so Liz says, breaking of the legs literally happened to me. Then there were signs to stay until I was finally able to leave. And like you said, it happened quick. And so that is interesting to watch a cycle like that. Again, if you guys can't think of anything right now that you're going through in your life, look back. I bet there has been something. But that's basically how that goes, is that, you know, you can reach a point where you hit the breaking of the legs, you overstayed your welcome, you have karmic kickback, but the universe never abandons you. Spirit never leaves you behind. And so once you come to the conclusion mentally and you are saying energetically, I am willing to make this change, I am ready, the universe starts to get you out of your rut. You have to be actively involved in that, of course. But just like Liz said, I had to stay until I was finally able, because we do get to places. Let's be realistic. We can get trapped. You know, you overstayed, now you're stuck. How the heck can you get out? And you have to take those lifelines that the universe is offering you once you agree to go. And then it will, you know, happen very, very quickly when you finally hear that gun go off and you can be free to leave. Very exciting, really. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I got a comment from Zoe.
Zoe says, hello. Hi, Zoe. Thank you for joining us. For several months, I would see numbers like 111, 1212, 222, 1010 around a person who came back into my life. They went away once I stopped talking to them for a month. Was this a warning? Well, and I'll have Christina speak on that as well. Reverend Danny Johnson, our numerologist, is not, she's taking this week off. But I can say for sure that those are not necessarily warning signs. No. Okay. So again, let's look back on what I said about black and white thinking. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not yin. It's not yang. It's not toxic. It's not positive. We can't always, some things are, but we can't always stay in that frame of mind. When you see numbers like 111, we're talking about huge opportunity for prosperity. So this could have been an opportunity for you to end a karmic cycle, you know, for you to have some significant growth or lessons. 2 is about teamwork. So literally the number 2 is about you working with this other person. Christina, insight on this?
So around a person who came back into my life. They went away once I stopped talking to them. I mean, I always see those as like cosmic support. But if, I don't know, if they went away when you stopped talking to them, like a warning. I mean, I like you said, that's kind of a gray area. Maybe I would look in the astrology and just, you know, kind of see if there's an ending with either a relationship or a friendship, you know, and then like check your inner voice. That's a difficult one. I wish Deannie was here for that.
I would also say this. When we think about being in relationship with other people, we don't want to give them all the power. Like it's up to them, you know, whether it's good or bad. It's about you anyways. Even when someone else is involved in a situation in your life, it's still about you. It's still about your growth and your lessons, you know, your karmic cycles and what you're supposed to take from it. So don't always worry about the other person. Look at what you were supposed to learn from it. What were the big lessons there? I think that's prosperity, even if they're not meant to be there long term. And you were supposed to just go in. I think of it like a video game. Go in, get your tokens and move on, or let them move on. You know, doesn't mean it's supposed to last forever.
True.
Okay, we have another question.
Comment, really.
Okay. Alice says, this is a perfect topic. I'm moving apartments. I wondered about my job. I was feeling wasteful cleaning my apartment, but now I need to look at it as renewal. I love that. Yeah. I think that anytime we need to shed our old skin, we have to shed pretty much everything that comes with it. I think it's okay to take some things, you know, that are important to you. But even if you have things that are going to bring up pain or hold you back, put them in a box, put them away. You know, Walmart makes plastic bins. Just keep it somewhere. And, we don't need to have things in our face all the time. Yeah. Do we have any other ones? Okay. So we are going to move into prayer and healing requests. But I did want to give Christina last words on this.
In relation to that last comment, I have found purging to be so cleansing for me. It feels so good when you clean and you purge. There's and you can think clearly. So I don't know. I think that that's like the best thing. But like you said, all of relationships are sacred. It's all a sacred experience. It's all to teach you something. But once you're taught that lesson, it might be time to move on. Listen to your inner voice.
Good. And my, closing statement on this, or suggestion for everyone, is to just be silent. Stop the noise. Stop the dialogue. Stop the questioning. Stop looking. Stop searching. Stop talking about it. Stop asking everybody. Silence yourself. When it is time to make a big move in life, or make a big decision, or you're confused about something, hush. Okay. The answers are in here. Spirit is trying to talk to you. Your higher mind always knows, and it will be in alignment with the world outside of you once you can hear properly. We so quickly get detached and we're just in chaos. We're in human reactionary panic mode, and it's a toxic place to be. It will guide you the wrong way. So be quiet. And also, when you have been shown that you are supposed to stay, you are supposed to wait it out a little while longer, you need to remain quiet so that if and when it is time to go, you can hear that clearly as well. Don't allow yourself to fall back into toxic patterns of overactive thinking and talking about it too much and looking to the world outside of you and asking again and again and again and again and again. I sometimes get these clients and I tell Paul, you want this person? You want to take them off my hands? Because it's exhausting me. How many times can they try to buy a reading and ask the same thing over and over again? I feel like I'm feeding a toxic cycle. I don't want to have anything to do with that bad juju. You got to calm down. When you think of the way plants grow and how much time it can take for something to come to fruition, sometimes you just need to be patient and wait. We do not live in that type of a society. We are not raised with that mentality, but that is the nature of the universe. So calm down and be silent. Okay?
That's wise.
Yeah, and it works. It takes diligence. It takes training, but it works. It works. You just can't abandon it and fall off the wagon.
Mm-hmm.
And we all do, but get back on as soon as you notice you're being chaotic. Okay, so I think we want to move into prayer and healing requests. Yes. You gonna put them up and I'll read them from there. Okay. So if everyone could join together, we're going to, pray over each other and offer manifestation and guidance here. So we do appreciate you joining in. Spirit, we thank you for being with us tonight and always. We thank you for your constant guidance and wisdom and the security of knowing that we can always tap in with you and trust that the guidance that you're giving is for our highest and best good. Can we ask that you oversee the prayers and healing requests tonight, and also help those that do have chaotic minds, chaotic circumstances, help them to find that place of peace where they can hear you more clearly from here forward. Okay, who do we have first? So we have Alex, prayer request for strength, guidance, and support to go through with a separation. Oof. So Alex, that's a big one. Okay. Please give Alex the strength to know how and when to work in divine timing with this separation, and to refuse to be double-minded in it. Help her to see it all the way through and to control an overactive mind and emotion when it gets tough. Protect her from attacks from negative energy that will cause her to stray from the path she's meant to be on. Okay, prayers over Shauna for helping with the cleansing out of all negative energy buildup. Okay, for Shauna and everyone tuning in now and later. For those working to actively clear out energy. Sometimes energy can have a mind of its own. And if it's coming from a negative or dark place, it would love to return and hold you back and taint your space, your mind, your energy field. So we're asking for protection against that. We are asking for her and everyone else to have the strength, the power to cleanse thoroughly. Christian says, prayer request for my friend Taylor, who is dealing with trauma and fighting depression. Blessings and healings over Taylor. Help Taylor to feel uplifted. Help Taylor to be more open to detoxing, removal of blocks, so that the positive energy that Spirit in the universe is trying so hard to offer can be received. Okay. Christina, I don't know if you have anything to add to this. I do just want to also offer up prayer and healing requests over everyone dealing with Ida, the horrible storm that's running through the South here in America right now, and ask that people and the animals also find their way to safety, and that through even an experience like this, they can find blessings in it and become closer to God and the universe. I also want to pray over those in Afghanistan who are desperately trying to get out. Same prayer request over them, that even though they're going through this tremendous stress, that they can find more of a connection to God and miracles and manifestation in their lives, and special prayers of protection over the women and the girls there, that they can lead a revolution and that revolutionary change will take place so that they can finally achieve the freedom that they deserve.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Afghanistan and our troops to get home safely.
Okay. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for being with us tonight. We have Sunday service, it was 9 p.m. Eastern. We were at summer hours, but we are now moving back to our old time. So 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll be here on TikTok as well as on YouTube. At Ask IEV is the address for both. And if you guys want to listen to old sermons, you can find them here on YouTube in the playlist, Roots Revival Interfaith, or anywhere that you receive a podcast. Thank you, Reverend Christina. Thank you, Reverend Paul.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye.